this is your first time taking this class or your first time taking a yoga class, as the name implies, it is yoga based. So I will talk us through poses. I'm not going to just call out a pose and expect you to know where we're going. I will build us up into the pose, talk about alignment. So in that sense, it is beginner friendly. However, I don't want you to hear the word beginner and think that this class is necessarily easy. We're going to be moving around a lot and really targeting our core with not only yoga poses, but also traditional core exercises too, like Russian twist or crunches, etc. Before we get started, I want to remind everyone to always listen to your body, take breaks when you need. If something doesn't feel right in your body, you don't have to practice. And always check with your doctor before you start a new exercise plan. Unfortunately, as much as I would like to play music for these classes, I'm unable to with the pre-recorded classes. So if you like to listen to music while you work out, go ahead, take a second, pause, pull up your favorite playlist, and then we'll get started. Today, we'll start in a standing position, starting at the front of your mat. So you're gonna stand with feet hips width distance apart, standing and facing forward. Stand nice and tall, find length out of the sides of the body, out through the crown of the head, relax the shoulders down the back. We're gonna stay here and start to deepen the breath. Breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. A few more breaths just like this. Now start to roll the shoulders. Stick with one direction for now. Nice big circles, loosening up the shoulders and the chest. And then we'll reverse direction, so arms come around the opposite way now. And then find stillness. Take your right hand behind your back and grab above your left elbow. You're going to gently tug down on that arm, find some length in the shoulder, and let your head fall to the opposite side. Spine stays nice and long as we stretch the neck in a standing position. And take some deep breaths into your chest. Lift the head through center, release your grip and switch sides. So left hand comes behind the back, grabbing above opposite elbow. Give a gentle tug and let the head fall to opposite side. Lift your head through center and release arms down by your sides. Take your pointer finger and your thumb on your right hand. Bring both arms up overhead. With those two fingers, you're going to grab onto your left wrist. Find some length up towards the ceiling. We're going to hold here. Not finding a side bend quite yet. Just finding some length on the sides of our body. Now lower right arm down by your side and add a side bend over to the right. Keep your chin lifted from the chest, core is active, belly button drawing back towards the spine. Then bring both arms back overhead. Now pointer finger and thumb on the left hand, wrap around the right wrist, find some length towards the ceiling and hold here. Nice deep breaths. Now lower your left arm down by your side and add a side bend. Holding here. Stretching actively out through right fingertips, core stays engaged. Lift both arms up overhead. Then bring arms down to shoulder height and give yourself a hug. So arms wrap around the body and chin drops down to chest. Holding here. Now opening on back side of the body. Lift both arms back to shoulder height. Bring both arms overhead and lower to forward fold. Hands come together, lower down through heart center. We hinge forward at the hips, bringing belly to the thighs and letting arms and head hang heavy. Some of us might need to bend our knees a little more than others so that belly can make contact. Even if the knees are bent, hips stay reaching up towards the ceiling, so legs stay engaged. Low belly's drawing in. Crown of head reaches for the floor. One vertebrae at a time, we'll start to round the spine up to a standing position. Nice and slow, let the chin come up from your chest, very last. Once you make it back to a standing position, bring both arms overhead again. Lower them down to shoulder height and give yourself another hug. Switching arms, if you remember which arm was on top, we're gonna flip, lower chin to chest. Take a few breaths here. Bring arms out to shoulder height. Lift both arms overhead, gaze up to ceiling, and return to forward fold. Hands come together, we're hinging at the hips, bending the knees so belly can touch the thighs, and letting arms and head hang to the floor. Shake the head yes and no a few times, help relax the neck. Rise to half lift, flattening the back, bringing hands to shins, chest is parallel to floor. Draw the shoulders away from the ears, lengthen out through crown of the head, gazing down towards the floor. Then step into a plank position, bend the knees so you can plant your hands and step back into plank. We're gonna hold this plank for just a moment here. Take a look back at your heels. Heels should be in line with hips and hips should be in line with shoulders. Don't press just into the base of the palm, press out to the top of the palm, out through the pads of the fingers, then lower knees to tabletop. With the right hand, we're gonna flip it. So top of hand comes to mat, and then palm to mat once again. So just flipping the hand back and forth, helping to warm up the wrist. We'll do this a few times. Then switch sides. So back of the left hand to mat, palm to mat, and repeat a few times more. Plant both hands flat to the mat. Lift up to the tips of the fingers and extend your right leg behind you, heel in line with hip. Flatten the back, so draw the belly in and lengthen out through crown of head. Give me a tabletop crunch, drawing right knee in towards the chest, rounding the spine, pulling the belly in, lifting the knee as high towards the chest as you can, then extend the leg behind you again. Tabletop crunch, knee to chest. We're holding here. Lift that knee nice and high. Don't hold the breath. Then step the foot into lunge, ankle right below the knee, foot in between the hands. If you need, you can grab a hold of that foot and place it into alignment. Draw the breath in through the nose as you slowly lift both arms overhead, and we'll exhale here. Again, finding length through sides of the body, squaring shoulders away from the ears, and breathing into the chest. Add a spinal twist over to the right, lowering arms down at your sides, drawing belly in as you twist. Right foot stays flat to mat. As we inhale, we'll bring both arms back overhead, gaze up to ceiling. Exhale out to the mouth, finding a twist, right side. Once again, arms lower, belly draws in. Inhale one more time, arms lift overhead, facing forward, gaze is up. Exhale, adding the twist, squeezing the belly, lowering the arms. Arms come up one last time, and lower fingertips to floor. Heel toe your right foot out to the outer edge of the mat and bring your right hand to the inside. Stack the knee over the ankle, send the chest forward. So we're opening the hips here. You might feel enough sensation here. If you don't, try flexing the right foot and allowing the knee to open. So knee falls out to the right. Keep the spine long. And take a few breaths here. If you open the knee up, bring right foot flat to mat. Everyone heel toe the foot back to the center of the mat. Hands are framing the forward foot once again. We're up on the tips of the fingers. Extend the right leg behind you. Point through the toes. Keep that leg active. Then return to tabletop, knees to mat. Left side, same thing. Heel in line with hip. Point through the toes. Flatten the back. Draw that belly in. Give me a tabletop crunch. Knee to chest. Round the spine. Lift that knee nice and high. Press the belly back towards the spine. Then extend again. Heel in line with hip. Exhale to crunch. Draw the breath out. Draw the belly in. Lift the knee high. Hold it here. Then step or place the foot into lunge, foot in between the hands. Draw the breath in through the nose, lifting both arms up overhead, holding here and exhale. On your next exhale, we'll spinal twist to the left, drawing belly in, lowering arms down. Inhaling, both arms back overhead. Exhale for 2, finding the twist, drawing belly in. Inhale, arms back overhead. Last time, exhale to twist. Inhale to lift arms overhead. And exhale, fingertips return to the floor. Heel toe the left foot out to the outer edge of the mat. Bring left hand to the inside. Stack knee over the ankle. You can stay here. If you'd like to amp up the sensation in the hips, you're gonna flex the foot and let the knee fall out. Whichever position you're in, find length through the spine and take a few deep breaths. If the knee opens, foot flat to mat. Everyone heel toe the foot into the center edge of the mat, back into lunge. Extend the forward leg behind you, pointing through the toes and returning to tabletop. Round the spine into cat pose, tucking chin to chest, drawing belly in. Then lift and arch the spine into cow, tilting head up towards the ceiling. Try to lead all your movement with your tailbone. So we round the spine, starting with the tailbone, moving the roundness up the spine. Chin comes to chest last. Again, leading with the tailbone as we start to lift and arch, moving the arch up the back. Chin lifts from the chest last. One more time. Find the roundness in the spine. Let the tailbone lead the way. Inhale to lift and arch. Then return to neutral tabletop. Lower to puppy pose, so elbows lowered down to the mat, stacked underneath the shoulders, palms face down to floor, and head hangs heavy. This pose here, puppy pose, is option 1 for your rest period throughout the class. Option 2 is to settle into child's pose, so bring the big toes to touch, send the hips all the way down to the heels, and rest your forehead on the mat. So child's pose requires a little more opening in the hips. So try them both out if you're new to the poses. See which feels better in your body. And then you'll take a few breaths in whichever pose you chose. And we'll finish our warm-up here with a moment of stillness. I'm going to ask you today to set an intention for your practice. So think of something that you want to cultivate in your life. And as we go through our practice and as we put work in the body, I want you to think about that intention. We're going to manifest it through our practice. So if you need help, something that I'm working on, if you want to use mine, my intention is I do not take criticism personally. Constructive criticism. Everyone meet me back in tabletop on your hands and your knees, lifting up to the tips of the fingers. Extend your left leg behind you, point through the toes. Give me a tabletop crunch, knee to chest, around the spine, lift the knee high and step the foot into lunge. Tuck right toes onto the mat. We'll lift that right knee into the air, lifting up to pointer and middle finger, sending chest forward. Step up to half lift, feet step together. We flatten the back, hands to shins, shoulders draw away from the ears. Lower to forward fold, bend the knees, drop the belly to the thighs, let arms and head hang. And one vertebrae at a time, we'll round our spines until we're in a standing position. Chin comes up from the chest, very last. So now we're going to move into the bulk of our practice. Every week we have a new plank sequence. So I'm going to demo that sequence first, and then we're going to tie it into our practice together. So we're going to start in a plank position. We already talked a little bit about alignment. I'll always give us a countdown before we start our sequence, something like we'll start our sequence in 3, 2, 1. Today we're going to lean forward. So you're going to use your toes. The rest of your body stays still. My toes rock me forward, so shoulders are slightly past the wrist, and then I lean back. We'll side step. So one foot steps off the mat, steps back in, opposite foot steps off, steps back in. So in real time, we'll lean forward and back, side step, forward and back, side step, side step. We're going to take that 3 times. Then we're going to lower down to forearm plank. Same thing with alignment here. Shoulders are stacked over the elbows. We'll hold for 5 seconds. Then we'll lower down to the mat and we'll take the sequence from there. So we'll all start standing at the top of our mat, feet hips width distance apart. Stand tall out through the crown of your head and think of your intention. Slowly lift both arms overhead, gaze up to the ceiling. And lower to forward fold, belly comes down to thighs, head hangs towards the floor. Rise, half lift, flatten your back. Step into a plank position. And we'll start our first sequence in 3, 2, 1. Lean forward and back, side step, forward, back, side step, forward and back, side step. Find your forearm plank, elbows to mat, and we're holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release all the way down to mat. Tops of feet to mat, hands under shoulders, elbows up to ceiling. Gently lift the chest off the mat using the strength of your core. Shoulder blades reach behind the back. And we'll press into our rest position, either puppy pose or child's, hips all the way down to heels, whatever feels more comfortable for you. Take a breath or 2 here. And slowly meet me back in a tabletop position. Lift up to the tips of the fingers. Extend your right leg behind you this time. Point through the toes. Give me a tabletop crunch. Knee to chest. Activate that core. Step or place the foot into lunge. Left toes tuck onto the mat. Lift that knee in the air, lifting up to pointer and middle finger. Step forward to half lift. Feet together, hands to shins. Lower to forward fold. Let the belly make contact with thighs. And slowly round your spine up to a standing position. Nice and slow. Same thing through. Arms lift overhead, gaze is up. And lower back to forward fold, belly to thighs. Rise, half lift, flatten back, and step into your plank position. Starting our sequence in 3, 2, 1. Lean forward, back, side step, side step. Keep it going. Side steps. Last time. Side steps. And forearm plank. For 5, 4, 3, don't hold the breath, and release all the way down to belly, hands under shoulders. Lift the chest to baby cobra, opening the heart, and press to your rest position, whether that's puppy pose, elbows to mat, or child's hips to heels. Deepen the breath. Slowly rise back to tabletop and lift up to tips of fingers. Extend left leg behind you, point through the toes. Give me tabletop crunch, knee to chest, step the foot into lunge. Right toes tuck onto the mat, we'll lift into lunge. Step up to half lift, flattening your back. Lower to fold, belly to thighs. And slowly rise up to standing. One last time through. Once you make it all the way up to standing, slowly lift both arms overhead and gaze up to ceiling. And lower back to forward fold. Rise half lift and step into plank. Starting in 3, 2, 1. Lean forward, back, side step, forward and back, side step, side step. Keep it going, same pace, side step, find your forearm plank and hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and release. Hands under shoulders. We lift the chest, baby cobra, and press into our rest position. We're gonna skip the rest here. We're gonna rise right back to tabletop, lifting up to tips of fingers. Extend right leg behind you, point through the toes, and give me a crunch. Knee to chest, stepping right into lunge. Find your way in half lift, back is flat, feet together. Lower to fold, belly to thighs. And slowly rise to a standing position. Chin comes up from the chest last. Feet are hips width distance apart. Bring both arms overhead and settle into chair pose. So we bend the knees like we're taking a seat in an imaginary chair. Keep the tailbone tucked under, so not poking out. We're lifting through the chest. We're engaging our core. We're strengthening our core. We're strengthening our legs. We're holding here, not holding the breath, then lowering to fold, belly to thighs. Rise half lift as you inhale. Exhale, step back into plank. Then lower the knees to tabletop. Lift up to tips of fingers. Extend left leg behind you, pointing through toes, and give me a tabletop crunch, knee to chest. Inhale, extend the leg behind you. Exhale, tabletop crunch for 2. Inhale to extend. Last time, exhaling to crunch. We're holding here. See if you can lift the knee a little higher and then step or place the foot into lunge. Lift the right knee off the left mat, lifting up to pointer and middle finger. Bring hands to the forward thigh, lifting the chest into high lunge, extending arms overhead. Left knee is stacked over the ankle, and we're on the ball of the right foot. Take a few deep breaths into the chest. Then open a 5-pointed star facing the right side of your mat, lowering arms down to shoulder height, feet face forward. Turn the feet out now so they face away from one another and bend the knees into goddess pose. So stacking them over the ankles, sending hips down to the floor, bringing hands down towards your knees. Pressing firmly into the 4 corners of the feet, so outer and inner heel and outer and inner ball. Lift both arms back to shoulder height from me. Take a side bend over to the right, bringing elbow down, extending left arm overhead. And we'll switch sides, arms to shoulder height, find the side bend. Again, up through center, over to the right. Up through center, over to the left. Last time, if you need a break, straighten the legs and take side bends with the legs straight. Still engaging the core. Lift through center, pause here, straighten the legs if they're not already straight, and bring hands to hips. Turn the toes in now so they face one another, and hinge forward at the hips. Bringing your fingertips down to the floor, bending your knees if you need to do so to make that happen. Let's walk back to lunge. So left foot's turning forward. We're walking our hands to frame the forward foot, lifting right heel off the mat. Step back into plank, and we'll start our sequence in 3, 2, 1. Lean forward and back, side step, side step. Keep it going. Remember, you can always take breaks if you need to. Listen to your body. Lower to forearm plank. And hold for 5. Don't hold the breath. And release. Hands under shoulders. Nice deep inhale to lift the chest, baby cobra, and slow exhale out the mouth into your chosen rest position. We will take a break this time, deepen the breath, bring your attention back to your intention. And whenever you're ready, meet me back in a tabletop position, lifting up to the tips of the fingers. Left leg extends behind us, pointing through the toes. Give me a crunch, knee to chest, and step the foot through into lunge. Step up to half lift as you breathe in through the nose. Exhale out the mouth as you lower to forward fold. Try to draw the inhale out as you slowly rise to standing, then exhale at the top. It's okay if you can't extend your inhale that long. Again, we're going to lift the arms overhead and settle into chair pose, bending the knees, taking that imaginary seat, tucking tailbone under, keeping the chest lifted, keeping arms lifted, not holding the breath. Most of the weight is in our heels. We're holding here, strengthening our core, then we'll lower to forward fold, belly meets thighs. Rise to half lift, flat in the back. Step into a plank position and lower the knees to tabletop. Lift up to the tips of the fingers, extend your right leg behind you. As you exhale, give me a crunch, knee to chest. Inhale to extend. Exhale, knee to chest for 2. Inhale to extend. Last time, knee to chest, we're holding it here. See if you can lift that knee a little higher, then step or place the foot into lunge. Left toes tuck onto the mat, lift that knee in the air, bring the hands to the forward thigh and find high lunge. Arms extending overhead, holding here. Right knee is stacked over the ankle. Deep breaths into chest. Open a 5-pointed star facing the left side of your mat now, turning feet forward. Toes turn away from one another to start, and then we bend the knees into goddess, stacking knees over the heels, sending hips down to floor, lowering arms down to knees. Allow the knees to open so we don't want them to fall forward. Maybe the knees don't bend as much. Bring the arms out to shoulder height and find our side bend over to right. Inhale as we lift, arms at shoulder height. Exhale, side bend, opposite side. Inhale. Exhale, side bend. Inhale. Exhale, side bend. Last time, you can straighten those legs if you need a break. Find your side bends. Last side, exhale. Come through center, straighten the legs if they're not already straight, and bring hands to hips. Toes turn in to face one another now. Hinge forward at the hips, returning the fingertips towards the floor. Right foot turns forward as we walk the hands back into lunge, lifting left heel off the mat. Step back into your plank position and we'll take our sequence in 3, 2, 1. Forward and back, side to side. Forward and back, side, side. Last time, come back, side, side. Forearm plank, we're meeting here and holding for 5. Don't hold the breath. And release all the way down to mat. Inhale, lifting the chest. And exhale to your rest position, whether that's puppy or child's. Take a few deep breaths and bring your attention back to your intention once again. Think as we're putting movement in our body, we're instilling that intention into ourselves. Find yourself in any comfortable seated position, sitting in the center of your mat. For me, that's legs crossed, but for you, that might mean Legs in a diamond shape with bottoms of feet together, or maybe legs spread wide. However you can sit comfortably and keep your spine somewhat upright. Place your arms out at your sides and give me a nice deep breath in through the nose, lifting both arms overhead. As you exhale out through the mouth, we'll lower arms down to your sides. Inhale through the nose, bring arms up overhead. Exhale, arms down. Last time, deep breath in and arms come up, gaze up to ceiling. And exhale out through the mouth, returning fingers to the floor. Extend both legs forward, flexing the feet. Lift both arms overhead, drop chin to chest, then round the spine to rounded back stretch, lowering hands to knees, thumbs on the inside, and elbows pointing out to long edges of the mat. Melt the shoulders away from the ears and deepen the breath. Drawing the breath to the space you feel the most sensation, sort of encouraging those muscles to release their stress, to ease up. Slowly start to lengthen the spine up towards the ceiling, right into staff pose, planting hands on either sides of your hips, helping to lengthen the spine, then relaxing to neutral. Bend your right knee, placing your foot on the mat. Use your left arm to hold on to that bent knee, and we'll spinal twist to the right, free hand placed directly behind us, gazing towards the back of the mat. As you draw the breath in, see if you can sit up a little taller. And as you exhale, see if the belly has a little more space to twist. Inhale through the nose, finding length. Exhale out the mouth. Maybe the ribs find a little more space to twist. And breathe here. On your next exhale, gently unwind so you can face forward and straighten the bent knee. Left knee bends, placing foot to mat. Right arm holds on. We open the twist to the left, gazing to the back of the mat. As you exhale, unwind, return to center, straightening the leg. Bringing the bottoms of the feet together into butterfly pose, finding length through the spine, pressing firmly into the pinky edges of the feet, gazing down towards the mat. Deepen your breath. Now draw the knees together like you're closing a book. Make sure you're still sitting in the center of your mat. Sometimes you tend to move around a bit. And you're going to place your hands slightly behind the hips, fingertips out towards the side, so facing the long edges of the mat. Go ahead and cross the ankles and draw the knees in towards your chest. So maybe elbows bend a little bit, but spine stays long. Extend the legs out towards the left corner of your mat. Then draw the knees back into chest for crunch. Extend the legs down the center of the mat, crunch, over to the right, and crunch, making our way back down the center. Crunch, over to the left, and crunch. We can do one more time, down the center, we've got it. Crunch knees to chest, over to the right, crunch. Two more, we've got it. Extend those legs, give me a crunch. Extend the legs, give me a crunch, and plant the feet flat to mat. Turn the fingertips now so they face towards the toes. And lift into reverse plank, pressing into the feet and the hands, aiming to lift the hips about as high as the knees, lifting chin from chest. Holding here, stretching out those hip flexors. And we'll bring hips down to the floor. Place your hands on the back side of your thighs and slowly roll down to your flat on your back. We're going to take a quick moment of stillness here. Separate your feet to mat with a distance apart. Let the knees fall together. And place your arms out wide at shoulder height. Help open the chest. If you're comfortable closing the eyes, go ahead and do so. And bring your attention to your breath. Slowing down the practice. Slowing down our movement. Straighten your legs onto the mat. Draw right knee in towards the chest, interlacing the fingers, holding below the knee. Both feet are flexed, extended leg is engaged. As you inhale, fill the belly like a balloon, and as you exhale, draw the thigh closer to body. If you feel any discomfort on your knee for any reason, you can hold on to the back of your thigh instead. Maybe eyes stay closed. Release the leg, returning it to mat. Then drawing left knee in towards the chest, interlacing the fingers, holding below the knee, flexing the feet. Extended leg is engaged. Inhaling, filling belly like balloon. Exhaling, drawing thigh closer to body. Release the leg, returning it to the mat. Now both knees draw in towards the chest, feet side by side. Again, interlacing the fingers, holding below the knee. Thighs come close to body. Low back stays flat to mat. Gently tuck your chin in towards your chest, just slightly. Massaging your thyroid and finding some length on the back side of the neck. If you have the flexibility and you'd like a little more compression, lengthening the low back, maybe even a little more, you can try grabbing onto opposite elbows, but low back needs to stay flat to mat. Place your hands on the back side of your thighs and extend both legs up to the ceiling for our inversion. Heels stay stacked over the hips. Hands on the back of the thighs for support. We're going to hold for about 35 to 45 seconds here. A little tingliness in the toes is normal. And if you find you need some ease, you can draw the knees in towards the chest, but keep the heels elevated. We're already about halfway through. Inversions are great for inducing relaxation, which is exactly what we need, although hopefully you're pretty tired out at this point. It's easier to settle in our final resting pose if our bodies are tired. Slowly draw the knees in towards the chest, lowering heels all the way down towards the body, and place the arms along the floor, back at shoulder height, palms face up to ceiling. Let the knees fall to the right into reclined spinal twist, and head turns gently towards the left. This is our last pose before our final resting pose. I always encourage my students to close their eyes during this time, as we start to change the focus from the physical body and move our attention into what's going on in the inside. Bring your attention to your breath. Slowly draw knees back to center. Let them fall over to the left. and head turns to right. Draw the knees back to center of the chest and draw the thighs close to the body. Take a deep breath in through your nose, lift your head to meet your knees. Hold your breath at the top as you squeeze everything nice and tight, nice little ball. And as you exhale out through the mouth, release your body to lay flat on your mat, separating legs and arms nice and wide, palms face up to ceiling and eyes are still closed. Take a deep breath in through your nose, and as you exhale out through the mouth, let go onto the mat. Let everything go. Relax the brow and bring your focus back to your breath. We'll take about 2 to 3 minutes here in stillness. The best way, the easiest way to find relaxation is to follow the pattern of your breath, following every rhythmic rise and fall of your chest. I'll ask you one final time to think of your intention that you set at the beginning of this practice. And imagine your body glowing with a bright light as the intention is settling in. If your focus has wandered, bring your attention back to your breath. Slowly start to deepen your breath and begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Welcome movement back into your body. Gently roll over to the right side of your body and take a moment of stillness on your side. Keeping your eyes closed or your gaze low to the floor, slowly press yourself up into any comfortable seated position. As always, to finish class, we'll take 3 cleansing breaths together as one. Today we're going to start with our hands out at our sides. As we breathe in through the nose, we'll lift both arms overhead. As we exhale, we'll bring hands together and down through heart center before placing our hands back at our sides. Start to breathe in through the nose, lifting arms out at your sides, up overhead, filling the body with breath, exhaling hands together, out through the mouth, hands down through heart center and back at your sides. Again, breath in as arms rise and lift overhead. Breath out as hands come together, down through heart center and back at our sides. Last time, deepest breath yet as we lift the arms overhead, fill the body with breath. Very slow exhale as we bring hands together, down through heart center. Leave the hands at heart center. Lower your chin towards your chest. Take a second to thank yourself for taking time to have this practice today, and I'd like to thank you as well for letting me lead you on this practice. There is a light that exists within me that honors and respects the light that exists within you. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you're tired. It's pretty hot in here, so I was pretty tired out through the practice today. If you enjoyed this class, a new version of this class is aired every Wednesday at 8 a.m. If you're looking for something a little easier on the body, not so much core work, I teach a vinyasa yoga class. It's structured much the same, but I take out all those core targeting exercises and throw in something different. That class is aired every Monday at 8 a.m. If you have comments, questions, concerns, please reach out to us. Let us know what you think. Try out some of the other classes we offer this week, and I hope to see you guys next time.